Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, originally, I thought I would have enough time to do a live stream tonight, but instead, I'm going to do a couple of short videos about a couple of things that have been on my mind. So, this first video is a follow up to my video about Chilli from TLC. I did a video talking about her statements that she made about black women opening their options when it comes to dating and marriage, expressing a willingness to date outside of her race and encouraging black women to consider that as well. And I received quite a few comments to my prior video. I will post a link in the cards or in the description box when I get a chance to. But basically, in that video, I explained my position on the issue. Again, I encourage you all to watch that video if you haven't seen it. But in response to that video, I received a few comments. And also, I listened to part of a live stream tonight where people were talking about the same issue. And I just wanted to provide further commentary. The first thing I'll say is this. In response to my video, I noticed that a lot of men seem to be most emotionally invested in Chilli and her dating choices. These men seem to be so outraged and so pissed off. You would think that Chilli was their ex-girlfriend or something, man. You would think that she ran out on them to be with a white man. I mean, just based on like how emotionally invested these brothers were. I mean, you had brothers calling her a skank. You had brothers calling her all kinds of bed wenches and all that kind of stuff, man. So I don't get somebody being so emotionally invested in somebody that they're not going to ever meet in their lives, that they will probably never even see in their lives. And the most that they will ever see this woman is performing at some concert. So I don't understand why these people are so concerned with who this woman decides to date. And the reason why I say that is because this isn't a case where this woman, again, as I said in my prior video, this isn't a case where this woman was bashing black men, suggesting that black men are no good and that the white man is all this and all that. She simply said that black women should open their options. And as I said in my prior video, I obviously support black love. I believe that black men should be with black women and vice versa. Again, that video will be in the description box or in the cards for those who haven't seen it. So that's another point that I had to make. The other thing is this, man. A lot of these people that express such outrage, I mean, a lot of these people are not even really concerned about the interracial component. They're not concerned about people having black pride and all that kind of stuff. A lot of these people are looking for any opportunity to bash black women. And I was watching a segment of this sister's video, and she was highlighting one of these misogynists here on YouTube, some comments that he made about Chilli and this and that, basically pointing out how this guy was using it as an opportunity to bash black women and call black women witches and all that kind of stuff. And, that's what a lot of these guys do, man. They look for any kind of negative thing, any quote-unquote negative thing, and they use that to condemn black women as a collective, man. It's no different from some of these bitter black women here on YouTube who look at any bad thing that happens with a black man and use that as an opportunity to criticize black men. Well, you had these black guys on here who will take something like Chilli expressing her views about opening options, and they will run with that, and they will exaggerate exactly what she was saying and use that to condemn most black women. And I think that that's obviously problematic. And I think this shows the insincerity of some of these people. These same people that are making some big fuss about this are the same people that get on here defending the black man's right to be with white women. These people are hypocrites. These people don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to, just the soundness of their arguments and their logic. So that's another point that I had to make. Another thing I want to address is like a lot of people have brought up the fact that Chilli had made some statements about all lives matter and this and that back in the day, like a couple of years ago or so. Obviously, I don't support the concept of all lives mattering. And I mean, before people get it all confused, obviously all life has value, all life is important. But when people use that term, all lives matter, basically they use that to silence those of us who are talking about Black Lives Matter, those of us who are demanding that this society value Black lives. Because obviously in this society, they don't value Black lives, because if they did, you wouldn't have all these countless cases where police kill Black people, Black men in particular, and there is no justice and there is no conviction. There aren't even charges in a lot of these cases. These police often get away with murdering and lynching Black people. So obviously, Black lives in this society don't matter. You have a situation where people place more value on the life of a damn gorilla at a zoo than they placed on the life of a Black man. People were shedding tears over a damn gorilla. People shed tears over a dead lion. People shed tears over dead dogs. People face harsher sentences for brutality against dogs than they face against, for brutality against Black men and Black people in particular, in general. So, I don't buy into the whole all lives matter argument, but I will say this, that whole issue of her position on all lives matter is separate and apart from this issue of, Black women deciding to open their options and date outside of their race and all that kind of stuff. And again, before people get this video confused, I obviously support Black love. And, I encourage, again, Black men to be with Black women and Black women to be with Black men. So don't come here, twisting my words or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, I just think that those are two separate things, the all lives matter thing and this, this issue of, her and her dating choices and stuff. And the last point I want to make is this. I was listening to the Hangout again a few minutes ago, and people were making a big deal out of the fact that she claims that she's, not fully Black. Basically she claims that she's of mixed heritage. Her father or somebody in her family is an Arab and she's, and somebody else is Black. So she's quote unquote biracial. And people are saying, well, she's not even Black, so she shouldn't even be speaking on Black issues and stuff like that. And they saying that biracial people are not Black and blah, blah, blah. And, my response to that is simple. I mean, this is not a situation of a one-drop person. This woman, if anybody looks at her, they see a Black woman. When society looks at her, they see a Black woman. They don't see somebody that's part Arab or part Asian or any of that stuff. They see her as Black, and they define her as Black, and they treat her as Black. So this notion that she is not Black because one of her parents is an Arab is ridiculous. And then if you look at Arabs, many Arabs are of African descent. They have African blood in their veins. The concept of Arab identity, it's not a racial identity. It's more of a cultural identity. It's more of a linguistic identity because you have Arabs of different complexions and different nationalities, etc. So, this idea that because somebody's biracial, they're not Black, or because they're not 100% Black, they're not Black. I think that that's absurd because if you go by that definition, then most Black people in America are not fully 100% Black. And then, how much Blackness is Black? When you get into all that stuff, that just points out the absurdity of this concept of race. Like, it's a social construct. And in this society, the society constructs race in such a way that if someone is biracial, they are treated as if they are black. And we know this. I mean, there are countless examples of this. So I think that the last thing we need to be doing is dividing up our race into all these little subgroups. All that does is disempower black people politically, divide black people politically, and empower our enemy. And, so that's just the way I see it, man. I think that she can speak on black women's issues just as well as any other black woman because she is indistinguishable when you look at her from any other black woman. So, I just think that we get into a lot of silliness. But, my point is simple, man. I just don't understand why people are so emotionally invested in this, like why they express such hostility towards this woman talking about women should open their options. She's not saying, again, that the black man is trash or the black man's no good or the black man doesn't measure up or, that the white man's all this and that. She's simply saying that these women should open up their options. So again, I don't view her position as something that's hostile to black men. And for that reason, I'm not going to be calling her a bed wench. And I don't get, again, why these brothers are so emotionally invested in this, why they are taking this so personal, man. You got people calling her skanks, saying all kinds of ridiculous stuff, man. Just read the comment section to my video. So with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.